President Buhari expresses Nigeria's readiness to become a global hub for manufacturing of vaccines and pharmaceuticals. Minister of Water Resources gets marching orders to produce flood prevention plan. Nigeria must do away with fuel subsidy to cure recurring budget deficits, says Minister of Finance. Hello, welcome to the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. We're live in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. I'm Musbat and Wahab with the news. Nigeria is ready to become a global hub for sustainable manufacturing and distribution of vaccine and biological pharmaceuticals in support of the far-reaching measures towards keeping all of mankind safe. Speaking at the first World Bio Summit in Seoul, South Korea, President Muhammadu Buhari, however, made a case for speedy takeoff of the mRNA vaccine technology project, which he described as critical to global health security. State House correspondent Seda Musambo has the report.
The summit with the theme, The Future of Vaccines and Biohealth, is jointly organized by the government of South Korea and the World Health Organization, with hundreds of health experts and global enterprises in attendance. It provides a rare opportunity for productive engagement on ways to boost global cooperation in the development of vaccines in preparation for future pandemics, reflecting on lessons learned from COVID-19. Already, the Republic of Korea is hosting WHO's first global training hub for biomanufacturing, which President Yoon Suk-yeol promised will be a game changer.
We hope that this world-class training center will help to build crucial capacity in the production of vaccines and biologics in countries around the world. And Your Excellency, President Buhari's presence will help in strengthening the cooperation between high and low and middle income countries.
I am confident that dynamic leaders like yourselves who are present here can catalyze partnership to take the future of vaccine and biohealth to soaring new heights. Let us work together to realize a better future for all.
For President Muhammadu Buhari, the summit most importantly opens up global conversation at high levels of government on measures that are expected to forestall recurrence of the unpleasant experiences that low and middle income countries in Africa and Asia in particular had to endure with regard to access to vaccine during the COVID-19 pandemic.
COVID-19 actually threatened and continues to threaten all of mankind with no regard for race, region, or economic standing. We must step up as leaders in desperate need of healing and repair to begin to have the difficult conversations about a future which we must be better prepared for in order to avoid further devastation to our lives, livelihoods, and physical environment.
The president, who takes pride in the concerted efforts by the Nigerian government to mitigate the impact and curtail the spread of the virus on the nation's health systems, described as welcoming the mRNA technology transfer project as a strategy towards increasing vaccine production capacity in underserved regions and thus promoting global health security. Nigeria is one of the 6 African countries selected to host the mRNA vaccine technology transfer hub to scale up the production and access to vaccines for COVID-19 and other diseases in the low and middle income countries.
Nigeria is ready and able to offer itself for this initiative, we shall continue to explore bilateral, multilateral, and other opportunities for cutting-edge technology as a global hub for sustainable manufacturing and distribution of vaccine and biological pharmaceuticals to support initiatives to keep all of mankind safe.
President Buhari said with the mRNA technology, diseases that have plagued sub-Saharan Africa and the third world countries for centuries, especially malaria, Ebola and Lassa fever, would be addressed.
We would like to urge for the speedy takeoff of this project in the interest of global health security.
While pledging Nigeria's full commitment and support to the noble objectives of the Bio Summit, the president hopes that this courageous partnership will be sustained.
We apologize for the abrupt end to that report. Now, scientists from the West African sub-region have converged on Abuja to discuss the progress of ongoing research on the potentially deadly Lassa fever, which is a health burden in some African countries, including Nigeria. The scientists from Nigeria, Republic of Benin, Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone, brought together by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NSCDC, and Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovation, have been sharing experiences on prevention, management and possibilities of having a Lassa fever vaccine in the near future.
Highest number of Lassa fever cases worldwide. So if they need answers from anywhere in the world, then that answer really needs to come from us.
The research tries to look at the mode of transmission, the chain of transmission. If we can better understand this, that way we can be able to, implement infection prevention and control measures.
We have to go on pushing the fight against Lassa fever and try to get the vaccine. This is the only preventive mean to do with Lassa fever.
Nigeria has the problem for 50 years, but I hope by 2030 we have a licensed vaccine for Nigerians.
Lassa fever is an animal-borne viral illness spread by rodents such as rats. As at 16 October 2022, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control indicates that 26 states have recorded at least one confirmed case across 105 local government areas of Nigeria, and 173 deaths have been reported. The President has directed the Minister of Water Resources to lead and coordinate with Ministries of Environment and Transportation as well as state government to develop a comprehensive plan of action for preventing flood disaster in Nigeria. President Buhari's directive, which was conveyed to the Minister in a letter signed by his Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, indicated that the plan should be presented to him in 90 days. President Buhari, according to the Chief of Staff, is regularly receiving updates on the flooding situation in the country and restates its commitment towards addressing the challenges caused by the disaster in the country. To other matters, $538 million has been earmarked by the federal government and other development partners for the execution of a special agro-industrial processing zones program in Nigeria. The program, which has been launched by Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is aimed at boosting food production in the country to prevent imminent food insecurity, enhance exports and provide jobs for millions of Nigerian youth. State House correspondent Gideon Nifade reports.
Today we are at a profoundly important moment in our agricultural odyssey. If the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones program delivers on its objectives, and we have no doubt that it will, then we would, in less than a decade, deal a fatal blow to food insecurity. We will create millions of good-paying jobs, And we will create an agro-industrial opportunity such as has never been seen on this continent at least.
What is special about this agro-industrial processing zones program, described as a game changer, is the coming together of federal and state governments, development partners, farmers groups, and other actors in mobilizing funds for food processing in designated zones. This, they say, would help in food production and security. Their commitment, as noted, would further attract private sector investment into the zones. The Vice President highlights 8 benefits that the program will offer.
The agricultural sector was pivotal in pulling our economy out of recession and is the single largest employer of labor. So we must incentivize agriculture through greater investments and an enabling environment for private sector participation and to advance our national agro-industrialization drive.
We believe that investment in food and food production is imperative for today, and investment in food and food production is imperative for our future. We are honored to work with the Republic of Nigeria to support this game-changing project.
For urgent actions are needed to prevent a food crisis in Africa.
Nigeria is the leading country in Africa, and if Nigeria is hungry, Africa is hungry. The only way we can stop African hunger is to ensure that every single dollar, every single coin coming out of this project has its manifestation in practical results.
We are working to ensure that in the next few years, made in Nigeria products, many of which will come out of these SAPZs, will be on supermarket shelves around the world.
The program is designed to commence in 8 locations of Kano, Imo, Kaduna, Cross River, Kwara, Oyo, and Ogun, and the Federal Capital Territory. That is in the first phase.
The Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones program is midwifed by the African Development Bank, headed by Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, who promised to continue committing more funds to supporting African countries towards developing agriculture. In Abuja, Jede Onifade, NTA News.
Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission (NUPRC) notes that though Nigeria's oil reserve grew by 0.37% in the last 1 year, depressed national oil production occasioned by crude oil theft is still a major concern. The Commission's Chief Executive Benga Komolafe told journalists in Abuja that he is optimistic that with concerted efforts by key players, Nigeria can surpass our OPEC quota. Lydia Simpson reports.
Despite having achieved 37.046 billion barrels from 36.910 billion barrels in the last year, challenges of crude oil theft, oil bunkering and pipeline vandalism is slowing the country from boosting oil production to enable her harness the benefits of the current high prices at the international market. Benga Komolafe says the Commission will tackle all factors against efficient and effective exploration and production operations in the country.
In the area of economic regulation and strategic planning, the Commission has commenced the implementation of the financial viability monitoring of licenses, leases and permit holders in line with Section 7 of the PIA by requesting the companies to submit their 2020 and 2021 audited financial statements.
He emphasized that the Commission is focused on laying a solid foundation for regulatory functions in the upstream.
We have drafted environmental remediation fund regulation and upstream petroleum safety regulations, both for which have been subjected to stakeholder review in line with the Petroleum Industry Act 2021.
Automation of the upstream work processes, he says, is almost completed. This is to improve the efficiency of work processes and is expected to become operational before the end of the year 2022. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
This is the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. More reports still ahead. Stay with us. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed says Nigeria needs to do away with fuel subsidy in order to deal with recurring budget
That
deficits.
was not made overnight. It's been years and years of labor. But if you have a young doctor now, he wants to be Dr. Wada in 2 days or 3 days. It doesn't work that way.
Their struggles.
I'm just so happy that God used me to give hope to Ali, because without us, Ali would have been dead by now. And I'm sure there are over 1,001 other Alis out there that we don't even know.
Their stories.
I am elected and I swore to defend everybody that is resident within Plateau State. I'm not the chief security officer of my tribe or a religion. I'm chief security officer of everybody.
Their wins.
I walked into NTA. Fidel Sabiki hears my voice. He says, my friend, has anybody auditioned you before? And I said, no, you need to go to the studio. We need to employ you as a staff of NTA. I was excited. I want to be a broadcaster. I want to be seen. I had that notion. I had that desire to be famous.
Get inspired on Inspirators, showing on NTA News 24.
Thanks a lot for staying with us. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed says Nigeria needs to do away with fuel subsidy in order to deal with recurring budget deficits. This was while discussing Nigeria's debt profile and subsidy regime on Good Morning Nigeria earlier today. Ekemini Williams reports.
The country's debt profile and subsidy regime has over time generated debates at different fora. And the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, says to substantially resolve these issues, the only way out is exiting the controversial fuel subsidies.
It's also not unique to Nigeria. All countries that have held on subsidy for a long time, when they're exiting, face those difficulties. So it's something we should anticipate. And how are we planning to manage the exit? We have designed a package to provide succor by way of fiscal support, so like monetary support, to the most vulnerable segments of the Nigerian society for a short period, maybe a period of 6 months, maybe maximum 9 months, in the form of cash transfer or whatever other means we will end up concluding.
Economic experts on the program, Kenife and Ni Akinsuju, explained that while it is not an offense for the country to borrow, especially as the Finance Act permits this, these funds, however, should be channeled to economic activities that produce rather than consume to grow the economy.
I think it is criminal to borrow money to pay subsidy. It does not make economic sense. It lacks logic, because it just means that we are borrowing money to pay consumption, not consumption that can even determine its impact on production or productivity.
You also need to consider the fact that much of our debt is debt financing. We are not doing as well on asset-based financing. You could see in this budget, 205 billion is coming from proceeds from privatization. But that's very small compared to the quantum of what we want to borrow, which is around 10 trillion. So the question now is, how rapidly do we get into the asset financing scene?
They advised the government to consider more robust engagement with stakeholders to generate ideas that rapidly boost revenue generation.
Let's look at our biggest asset, which is NNPC. The valuation of NNPC at about $100 billion means that if we can rapidly take NNPC to the stock market, it shouldn't take more than 6 months. They can sell just 10%, and that will rake in $10 billion to start solving and addressing this problem.
The minister disclosed that the federal government plans to revitalize its investments to attract more foreign exchange to strengthen the naira. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
Infractions in salaries and allowances of staff in public service will be averted with constant collaborations between relevant government agents of payments and monitoring. This was brought to the fore at a workshop on the 2022 morning level and salary inspection project for field and monitoring officers of National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission. Joseph Hussein reports.
The National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission recommends staffing, salaries and allowances of federal government organizations. But the practice where some review their staff strength and payment without recourse to the commission is what the commission says is bringing industrial disputes in public service.
It's only when you get into the field, look into their books, you get all these things. And once you see those infractions, you stop it.
Sometimes IPs will give pay rates and allowances that are not due to certain institutions, and they just keep paying it, and money leaks from there.
Synergy between relevant organizations is required to correct the abnormality, however equipping its officials with skills to adequately screen public service establishments to prevent over-bloated bills for the government is what the Commission is prioritizing at this stage.
The wage sector accounts for upwards of 30% of the government budget, which we now say, if we say 30% is about approximately 1.5 trillion. Henceforth, there is critical need to keep it under continuous surveillance, control, lest the government gets into trouble with finance.
The 2022 mining level is capturing staffing data of Federal Ministry of Health, while the salaries inspections exercise will cover agencies under education. In Abuja, Joseph Utsen, NTA News.
Now let's celebrate someone whose the age of 50 is no doubt a significant milestone which attracts well-wishers. This was the scenario as friends, family members and well-wishers joined senior legislative aide to Chief Whip of the Senate, Chief Emeka Nwala, who commemorated his 50th birthday in grand style. Olusheye Adiagbo was there and filed in this report.
It began with a Thanksgiving service at the Apostolic Church FCT Feed Kuba in Abuja, where friends, family and associates converged to honor Emeka Nwala, a lawyer, father and senior legislative aide to the Chief Whip of the Senate, Orji Uzor Kalu.
I'm a product of the church. My school fees, everything paid by church. That's why I can never leave the church.
In his sermon, Apostle John Bozo explained that Thanksgiving was a mandate from God to return all glory to Him in all circumstances.
That men may praise the Lord for His goodness and for His wonderful works to the children of men.
It is a mandate that the celebrants understands, being born to an apostle himself, joined by family members and associates.
We cover the family with the blood of Jesus.
The person who holds on to the Lord will never miss the mark. Let him continue his faith and trust in the Lord. He will make it.
As he marks his 50th anniversary, we wish him long life, prosperity.
Advice to him is for him to continue to put his trust in God, because it's only God that has brought him this far.
At a reception for guests, senior members of the National Assembly joined the Chief Whip of Senate, who was the special guest of honor.
Happy birthday to you.
He's a very hardworking young man, and I ask him to continue being nice, being committed to his job, and he will go far.
We've asked him to keep on the good work he's doing, to be humble as he is. Let him maintain that status, and the sky is his limit.
And I thank my parents who brought me in a godly way, and most especially also thank Senator Joseph Carlos' family. In this my world, wherever I am now, the level everybody is that family. The family name has been leading me, getting businesses, getting anything with genuinity and trust.
Senator Orji Uzor Kalu later inaugurated the new house built by the celebrants, a fitting way to climax such a memorable day. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
Now to the foreign scene, as Rishi Sunak says his government will have integrity, professionalism and accountability at every level. This was after officially taking over as the new British Prime Minister. Sunak emerged the new leader of the United Kingdom Conservative Party on Monday. In his first speech, it says the UK is facing a profound economic crisis and that he has been chosen to take office to fix some of his predecessors' mistakes. Rishi Sunak had predicted financial problems under Truss, leading to a clash with the former Prime Minister during the previous leadership race, pointing out that a plan to borrow money during an inflation crisis was a fairy tale that will plunge the economy into chaos. Sunak, a son of Indian immigrants, was born in Southampton in 1980, where his father was a general practitioner and his mother ran a pharmacy. He becomes the first British Asian Prime Minister. Sunak was first elected as a Member of Parliament in 2015 for Richmond in North Yorkshire, but rose quickly and was made Chancellor of the Exchequer in February 2020 under Boris Johnson. The audience between King Charles and the new Prime Minister marks the symbolic handover of power to Rishi Sunak. Meanwhile, Nigeria welcomes the incoming British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. President Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria looks forward to working closely with the incoming British Prime Minister across several fronts, including anti-terrorism, food security, energy, access and climate change. President Buhari, in a statement by his senior special assistant on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, says, as the first British Prime Minister of British Asian descent and the youngest in about 200 years, these milestones will be especially inspiring for young people across our 2.4 billion population, 56 nation Commonwealth. The President solicits deepened mutual cooperation with Britain to achieve more, alongside leaders of other Commonwealth nations. And that concludes the News Desk 3 on NTA News 24. Thanks a lot for watching it. Join us again at top of the hour for NTA Nationwide.